Cheryl Mathews here. Hey, one of the most important things to know about public speaking fear is that there are two phases to fear, first fear and second fear. And first fear, you can't control. Second fear, you can control. And a lot of people who get stuck with public speaking fear feel like that they cannot control the fear, that the fear is controlling them. And so kind of breaking it down into two parts and understanding that there is this first phase of fear that happens and you can't control it. It's going to happen. There's going to be some adrenaline that gets released into your body. And that's why everyone has some fear of public speaking, because everyone gets that first shot of adrenaline into their body that causes these typical anxiety symptoms like sweating, trembling, voice quivering, all of those symptoms. So once you know that you're going to get a shot of adrenaline, you're going to get that first fear, and that's natural and that you should expect it and that everybody gets that. Then second fear is actually where you're adding fearful thoughts on top of first fear. And so you're thinking things like, I'm going to make a fool of myself. What if I trip? Or what if I start trembling and people can notice that I'm nervous? What if I'm not just completely poised and perfect? That'll be horrible. And so all of those kind of thoughts, what if thoughts, that's horrible, that's awful, I can't stand that, I can't accept that, that's bad. You want to start becoming aware of those thoughts and making sure that you're not adding that second fear on top of the first fear. If you can go into the public speaking situation expecting first fear and saying, okay, I'm going to get a little blip, I'm going to get a little bit of adrenaline, but I can function with that level of adrenaline. And the key thing for me is to not start adding that second fear. Now, one of the tricks that your brain plays when you have public speaking fear is that you actually perceive the audience and their possible negative judgment of you as a threat. And that's actually what causes first fear, and everybody has that. But in addition to that, people with public speaking fear also, their brains start interpreting the symptoms themselves as a threat. And so whenever their heart starts beating faster, or they start sweating, or they start trembling, or any of those symptoms, typical fear symptoms, whenever they start sensing that there's even a little bit of that starting, then all of a sudden, that's when second fear starts piling on. And it's like, oh no, my goodness, these fear symptoms are starting. Something's wrong, something's bad. I shouldn't be feeling any fear at all. And I should be doing this perfectly and poised and relaxed, and something's wrong. I'm starting to get these fear symptoms. They're going to escalate. It's going to get out of control. This bad thing is going to happen. I'm going to make a fool of myself. Then it just escalates and you start getting more adrenaline in your body. And then you go, oh my goodness, now I've got even more adrenaline in my body. Now I'm really afraid. And then of course that thought creates more adrenaline in your body, which then creates more fearful thoughts. And it just gets into a cycle that completely escalates out of control. And then you want to run out of the situation, escape it. So then it creates an embarrassing situation. Exactly what you were afraid of starts to happen. So how to get out of this trap, because it is a trap and it is a self-perpetuating, escalating cycle of fear. And so how to start getting out of that trap is you have to start practicing, not public speaking per se, but start practicing how to manage the fear process. And the best way to do that is actually in a group of other people who share your fear, who have the same kind of experience where their fear is escalating, and you can be each other's audience, and you can practice. And in that group, you would have a coach that, and I have a group where I do this coaching, is basically to help you at the beginning of the process say, hey, this is normal, that you're going to go into this process, you're going to expect the fear, this first fear, and the key thing is just to keep practicing not adding those fearful second fear thoughts. So what we do in the group is we start identifying thoughts that you may be thinking that are adding to that second fear, and start helping you become aware of that process when first fear happens, and how you're starting to add second fear to it, and how you can start not adding that second fear to it, and thereby bringing the whole process into control so that you're controlling it. And really, it takes practice to do that. It takes being in a group and starting to change the way you're thinking about the process and the way you're reacting to it. And the more you practice going through that fear process successfully, the more you start feeling confident that you can manage it. Typically, people with public speaking fear, their self-confidence starts going down, because this is a situation that I don't know how to control, and it's controlling me. And that brings down your self-confidence. But once you're in a group like the one that I'm describing, you actually start sensing that, oh, I can control this, and this is where I can control it, and this is how I can control it, and here are some very simple techniques and coping strategies that I can use to start practicing this. And the more you practice the fear process, the more that you start desensitizing your nervous system to the fear, so that it's not triggering an automatic fear response in the public speaking situation. Now you can start triggering more of a relaxation response.